Oh, there it is. Save slot. What? Also, help me if that screwed something up. Ah, it screwed something up. I don't want this save slot. Darn it. I pressed the wrong hotkey and I got a rotten deal. Okay, hang on. Pay no attention. You see nothing, you know nothing. Okay. No. How do I access the hotkeys then? I didn't even press all I...
You didn't delete one, did you?
Well, no, it didn't give me that option, but I'm just saying I clearly pressed the wrong hotkey for the... I know for certain we saved. At the very least, we saved at that magic world between worlds. I just now have to find a way to actually... Save state options, state index. I got no clue. I certainly don't want to save state now. Load state 1. Okay, what other load states are there then, dumb game? Dadgummit. Oh, okay, if there's a way to actually do it this way. Saves. What? This doesn't make sense because there's an in-game save system that I've been using this entire time. I'm gonna be massively hacked if I have to do something stupid just to get that back. I mean, what's this? What happens if I click that? Doesn't do anything. Okay, so how many save states do you... State index 0. It ain't. Okay, well this is where this is the save at the start of the last. So I mean this wouldn't be all that much progress. It would basically be all the last episode because this is this. But this, why is, I don't recall ever setting a manual save. Or a non-manual save. I didn't recall ever setting a save state. I don't know why it's not. Okay, well, I'm going to at least look up if there's a way to undo this.
Can you not just close the game out?
I already tried that. It's just going to go to this save state because once I've loaded it once accidentally, it's going to keep loading here. This is why I actually don't like that function. As much as I understand it's kind of necessary for some old games. The fact that it can do something like this, it's like I'd rather much use the save state that's built into the game. Okay, well, I may have screwed myself. Dadgummit. Okay, well, hang on. I didn't quit RetroArch. But, because they're saying, this is why I hate this, is that if you use the load state, it will override temporarily your actual in-game saves, because they're all saved in one file. And you can undo that, but if you close the game /RetroArch, then it may not actually be you might not be able to undo it. Now I restarted the game, I didn't close RetroArch, so I'm not sure what he means because he says both. Okay, if I go to the menu, what's the menu? Which menu? I mean this menu? I've forgotten even how to get to the menu from here. Okay, no, that's not. Okay. I have forgotten how the menu works, and I don't want to do this. Can I go back, please? It would seem I cannot go back.
Game?
Okay, well, that's the thing. I can't even activate it manually, is what's annoying. F1, okay. Undo load state. Undid load state. I don't think it did, because this is still the load state. Undo save state, or oh, undo save state. That's what I want. No, 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 no. Okay. Yep. So we're screwed. I mean, not screwed, but lost an hour screwed.
Well, that sucks. So, like, none of that actually got us through the, what is it called?
I mean, it's going to start us here, so this is where we started the last one. Well, this is why I don't actually like emulation very much. As much as it's a useful tool for old games that can't really be played very easily anymore, I still think there's just a little bit of jank to it, because that's incredibly stupid. They did say, so that guy, same guy did say, you can deactivate the load state from saving to the same file, and it'll save to a different file, so it won't cause that issue. But that can also cause other issues with save files from old games. So, well, maybe this is our second chance. Maybe we won't post the last one for fear of being investigated by the feds. That'll be the special secret episode that no one gets to watch. We got a little too spicy.
Wow.
Our opinions on government are unfashionable in this day and age. By which I mean completely understandable by anyone with sense. Well, now let's try a speed run. How fast can we get back to where we were? I mean, now that we know what we're doing, probably reasonably.
Save everything twice. Two separate sections.
Well, that wouldn't have even helped, because I have multiple save slots, but it was the fact that I somehow triggered a load state on the RetroArch things, which I didn't realize I had set. I thought I was pressing the hotkey for recording.
You're right, Winker. Something has gone haywire.
Yeah, it's the called government. You know what I also can do is one of these buttons. How do I? What's the button that it speeds up in-game activity? Gonna do a whole bunch of behind-the-scenes-ing today. Oh, come on. How do you actually do it? It used to do this, but then when we set it up to... Oh, okay, so it's probably been reconfigured after I got it set up differently. Controls, hang on a sec.
Okay. This kind of
Yeah,
representation drives me nuts.
So, okay, I'd have to... Fine, I won't bother. We'll just have to do it speedrun style, with no assistance.
I find it amazing how many anti... Okay, rewind, or backtrack slightly. Have you ever watched just for kicks and giggles?
You ever wanted to overthrow the government?
Well, that that too, but no, like watched something like CNN or anything like that. It's scary.
Never with my, never on purpose.
Well, no, but I think I was in a hotel at one point, and it was like on in the lobby downstairs, and I sat there in awe as I was like waiting to be checked into my room, listening to what I can really barely describe as the news on CNN, and it was like there was so much propaganda from Go as far as the angle in which they like framed everything that I was just going, okay, what? And it just gets worse. Like, even the way they describe this whole Texas Freedom Force or whatever, where it's like they call themselves the protector of all things Texas and claim that their group is required to make sure like anybody that joins their group has to fall under the rules because they actually support government and any law what is it called officer of the law, so long as they're actually upholding their civic duty to protect and serve.
It's just what it called used to being an American.
Right. So get this though, and then they say in reality the group focuses on memorials to pro-slavery Confederate South, which I guarantee you is just because of the fact that they happen to use.
Yeah, you mean my great-grandfather?
Yeah, it's like, okay.
Sorry that you hate him, I don't.
The organization unsuccessfully lobbied against the...
Didn't we have this conversation once before? It's like, this is...
Antonio City Council...
You're not going to get...
...decisions to remove the Confederate monument of Travis Park, and it has engaged in similar political actions around the state. See, that's not illegal. And it's also not something to be frowned upon.
Well, it's just a...
Primary objection to the plan centered on the large monument to the defenders of the Alamo is to build
They weren't... What? How'd the Alamo get involved? It didn't have anything to do with the Confederates.
It's to build the plan called it for it to move just off the battlegrounds. Okay, so none of that is pertinent.
Because the thing is, you won't endear people by saying, hey, we're not gonna appreciate any nuance about the fact that you had family members who fought in this conflict. It's like, we're just gonna demand that you abandon any ancestral concern for that and instead condemn them and everyone else, and just you're asking people to sever their actual history. And it's like, yeah, I'm sure you leftists are perfectly fine with doing that, but even though he might have been wouldn't have had opinions that are okay today and that we don't agree with,
Right.
I'm not going to just go throwing him under the bus. Thank you, Stalin. We don't just go turning our backs on family just because they hold different opinions.
Burkhart is the president. He says this, as they were reporting on it, was like, this is a dangerous group, a dangerous militia group, a group that has shown up to City Hall fully armed to try to intimidate people. It's like, no, they're trying to intimidate you into actually doing your job. They're absolutely ignorant of history, which isn't true. Ignorant of so many things, and it's an unfortunate situation to be in when you're trying to get a great project that is so important done. So Burkhart, which is the leader, president of Texas Freedom Force, said the leadership tries to keep away from their Facebook. Now you would have any association stray person come in and post something that obviously then we'd all have to take responsibility for. That makes total sense. Burkhart told Texas Public Radio that the group's opposition to the Alamo plan was the removal of the Confederate monument from Travis Park is about honoring veterans, which it probably is. Again, that's the whole point. It's like,
because the
Civil War isn't fought over slavery, which it also wasn't. Purely an issue of that.
I mean,
so it's like, okay, that's not an ignorance to history, guys. You got to actually look at the broader picture. Yes, of course, that was a factor and a major one. I'm not arguing that it wasn't.
Arguably the major
of
one,
course.
yes.
But at the same time, it wasn't just that. I mean, I don't know. The latter claim is rooted in revisionist history. And I'm like,
Well, this is very annoying.
and then of course it always comes down to they're all a bunch of white nationalists that love the KKK and want.
No, sorry, that's you. That's Democrats, by the way. That's your group, not ours. Don't go foisting that on us. We didn't start it, we don't want it. Take me back.
Stuff really stupid.
Bum, 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 bum. Buh. Okay, I'm just drinking a whole bunch of my magic juice.
Oh, so the 3%ers are a larger group that are like broader than just Texas, but then
Yeah, they're a national thing. That's what I thought
Texas
they were.
Freedom Force like co-opted that group's
Mm.
kind of some of their ideology. It sounds like.
All right, I've officially lost all sympathy for the wank bot.
3%. That's the wank bot. Why is that?
Well, just I've seen this too many times now. I want to get out of this section.
Pretty sure I've seen a scene like this. I shouldn't have.
Wow. That's awfully dark. You need to take that to confession.
This group advocates gun ownership,
Oh, how horrible.
resistance to the U.S. federal government.
How horrible.
Oh, how horrible.
So you. Again, it's like, so the people who don't like this are the people that we don't like.
There's just something about them we don't like. The group's name derives from the erroneous claim that the active
I did see that. Apparently there's unfounded evidence that was the actual percentage. It was likely more.
that the active forces in the field against the king's tyranny never amounted to more than 3% of the colonists during the American Revolution.
It was more like 10, but it's like, okay, still. That's just a nitpick that's obviously one of those fact checks where it's like, actually, that's not true. It was this thing that's only 80% that.
This group is based in the U.S. and has presence in Canada. It has been described as the most dangerous extreme group.
Again, by you. By the people who it opposes.
Their leadership dissolved. The American National Group, in response to the Capitol attack, condemned the violence, multiple factions of the group, and others.
I condemn the violence too, like the woman who was shot by the feds. I think I can condemn that safely. It was the only actual violence that happened that day. Actually, no, it was actually a police officer who participated in the attack and shot a woman in the head.
6 men associated with the group were indicted in the U.S. for conspiracy, and Canada declared the group a terrorist entity. Wow.
You know, but Canada considers truckers a terrorist entity, so...
Do they really?
Well, you not... Surely you knew about the trucking
Yes,
protests?
I did. I just didn't realize that Canada went quite that far.
Oh, yeah. You never see the Don't Trudeau on Me flag?
Oh, Trudeau.
It was excellent.
No, I haven't seen that, I don't think. Yeah, that
Nobody saw that coming.
really bad.
Between Canada, the U.S., and England, all three of us are spiraling towards tyranny, but no one thought Canada would get there first. Oh, I'm dead.
To push him over the edge.
All
Alright, it's
get
on
him.
you, slut. Get her done.
I can't. She's got to revive the guy who's actually got the power. It's a feminist allegory.
Wow.
All right, come on. Get back in the game, pal. Give him a what for. Give Shellacking. I was saying that to Slut.
No.
Okay, come on, let's get out of here. Let's get the wanker and go.
Many members of the former or current members of the police, military, and other law enforcement agencies, as well as anti-government groups such as the Oath Keepers.
Ooh.
An
That's a good
American
name.
far right, of course. They always are.
By that we mean conservative.
Yeah. Anti-government militia whose leaders have been convicted of violence, opposing the government of the United States, including the transfer of presidential powers as prescribed by the United States Constitution. I love how they roll that in there like, oh yeah, it says that.
Yeah, yes, the Constitution does say that they got to do this, except of course when it's blatantly false.
It was incorporated in 2009. A lawyer, and former paratrooper in 2023. Rhodes was sentenced to 18 years. Wow. For seditious conspiracy for his role in it. The fact that he was sentenced to 18 years for the January 6th attack, quote-unquote attack, I say that in massive air quotes. Why aren't we dealing with these kinds of things?
What are you going to do?
I don't know, but I mean...
It's got to reach critical mass, otherwise it's just going to be a bunch of people hung. I'm not joking. That's why the founding fathers knew that it's like we got to wait until we can do it, because if we try to do it too early, we're just all going to get hung.
Golly, like seriously. And other Oathkeeper leader Kelly Meggs was sentenced to 12 years for the same crime. 3 other members have pled guilty to this crime, and 4 other members are convicted of it. Of what? Of seditious conspiracy?
Of disliking the government, because that's a crime.
It's a crime in various jurisdictions of conspiring against the authority of a legitimate state. Okay, so...
See, that should constitutionally be illegal. Like, I'm sorry.
Sedition has been described as a serious but lesser counterpart to treason, which is not...
Guess who founded the country? A bunch of treason people. Alright, now we're back to this save. I don't know if there was another save after this, now that I think about it.
Right, libertarianism. Oh my word, the fact that there's even such a thing called Trumpism, and they now put Oath Keepers under that, is stupid. They hate him that much.
Well, they hate you that much. They hate everyone that much.
The group encouraged its members to disobey orders which they believe would violate the U.S. Constitution. Yeah.
Yeah, like what the Fed does.
Research on their members determined that 2/3 of the Oath Keepers are former military and law enforcement. Almost like the people that have...
It's almost like the people who swear an oath to the Constitution mean it!
And 1/10 are active duty military. It's like, well, okay. That should tell you freaking something.
Yes, but they hate them too, don't you know?
Most research determined the Oath Keep membership has been approximately 5,000 members, while leaked data shows that the Oath Keepers roster claiming membership of 38,000 people. It's like, okay, well, still not quite there yet. Several organizations that monitor U.S. domestic terrorism. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to just read this, but I find this kind of stuff fascinating because the issue is all this coalesces basically back to the January 6th attack, and it bothers me because I'm like, okay, but didn't we realize that that was all basically crafted by the media? I mean...
Well, no, because of course the media will never admit that.
Well, they can't admit it because they were paid to do so. It's not.
Well, yeah,
really
but that's
like
the point. But that's like, so that why would you can't be surprised that the only people reporting on it are the ones lying about it, and of course they have to lie about it because they're the ones behind it. Yes, we get it. And I gotta do the Jericho move again. Come on, pal.
Like, why is this? Like, why is that even illegal? Anti-Hillary Clinton threats. It's like,
Okay, threats I can understand.
Well,
Not allowed to just go threatening people.
cult member to to visiting polling places incognito to hunt down and document suspected voter fraud. That's completely legal.
Well, I don't know if it's legal. It should be, though. Considering we have a problem with voter fraud. It's called vigilante justice, that. Citizen's arrest. Let's go back to that being a thing.
I really just can't. I mean, it's...
Well, if you keep going on like this, you're going to end up getting a knock on the door someday.
Well, I mean, where were you in the whole... I don't know.
Whoop. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Where was I when democracy fell? I don't know. That'll be the question we all ask each other in the future. Where were you the day the Republic died? Question is, has that already happened? Answer, probably.
Cowboys is a North American... I just find it hilarious.
See, are they a military group over there? I thought they were more of a riot-ish,
This one is
sort
a
of a
little bit
right-wing Antifa.
Yeah, the Proud Boys are North American, all-male, far-right neo-fascist.
Heaven forbid, neo-fascist, my left cheek. Yes, they dislike government. That makes them neo-fascist. You just don't even know what it means.
The group's leaders have been convicted of violently opposing the federal government only
On January 6th. And of course, I'd like to point out, they weren't there on January 6th.
That's so stupid.
Eventually, you're going to reach a point where it's like, oh, he was convicted by the federal government. It's like, oh, that's a positive in my book. If you really want me to reach that position, you just keep doing what you're doing, arresting a bunch of people that I think are sensible.
Wow. Even the way they frame Trump is
You're
just...
radicalizing yourself right now.
Well, yeah, but I mean...
Well, yeah.
Listen to the way they frame Trump.
I know all this is
Donald
BS.
Trump's comments are Proud Boys stand back and stand by. I was literally watching the news when he said that, and he was not acting like, hang on and waiting for my go ahead. He was like telling them to stop if they were there. But again,
All right, bye, fellas. Alright, well, it's been half an hour, so we've really only lost... I mean, we lost all of the last episode's stuff, but I think that was the last save, so we would have started back there anyways.
alright, so the only ones that are active in Texas right now are Texas State Militia, which is just our normal...
Yeah, but that's...
stuff,
You'd actually
and
have to...
then
Well,
Texas Freedom Force.
I'm honestly of the opinion, it's like... I mean, I don't know... I'm at a toss-up where I'm not sure if you do National Guard or just, I don't know, some kind of reserve. Reservist actually seems a little bit... You get a little bit more control over it because it's basically regionally based. So it's like you would attend whatever the nearest camps are to you. And so it's just essentially you basically you'd get to pick your own area that you're a part of, and that you can pick your own I forget what it's called. I forget the term for it, but basically your operation thing. I forget the name of them because they have a letter system that tracks them, but it's basically you get to pick your specialization. And I've thought about it. I mean, you still have to go to boot camp, which is a big deal, but then it's like, okay, just once a month you do drills, and I'm like, that's basically a modern militia. So what about that? The other question, now the question I have is, I know that employers aren't allowed to prevent you from using your, it's like they have to let you go to your training days when they're scheduled. The only question I have is there any reason why they would have the ability to, like, because I know you obviously, if you're going into a job and that you can make them aware that you're a part of this and that's going to be a part of your schedule. But if you already have a job, would you have to tell them, like, hey, I'm going to enlist in this, and then would that give them the opportunity to fire you ahead of time? Or
question. I'm not sure.
I don't know either. All right, I don't need to wander around here and talk to people because I've already learned everything I need to learn. Hey. Well, you want to. None of our other topics were cheerier. Either life sucks because of the government, or life sucks because of
Feminism.
because of women. Because of half of life. I think we've already made ourselves a bit unpopular. I think we need to wait until we dive into that.
Yeah, we need to hold off on that one and still just. I find it ironic that the only militia groups are always radicalized as far right things.
Well, obviously. Except Antifa, of course. They're heroes, don't you know? Despite being spiteful mutants. Oh, last time I bought some stuff, didn't I? That's probably a good idea to do again. Oh, right, yeah, I gotta wipe the floor with your mom again.
See, purely opposition to the government. Beliefs within militia movements encompass a combination of ideologies and positions commonly associated with various groups, including sovereign citizen movement. Almost like we're free.
Almost like a thing called rights, you sons of...
1960s tax protest movement.
What?
Oh,
as if that's not justified?
Tea Party movement. Are you joking?
So literally, you would be British Stooges if you had the chance.
Oh, 100%. The Tea Party movement was an American fiscally conservative political movement within the Republican Party that began in 2009. So this is like modern Tea Party movement. Movement formed in opposition to the policies of Democratic President Barack Obama, which I knew, and was a major factor in 2010 wave election.
Oh, I forgot this person's immune to magic. I'm just an idiot.
Oh yeah, this is the... Yeah.
I'm not even paying attention.
Participants in the movement called for lower taxes. Wow. The nerve. The reduction of the national debt and federal budget deficit through decreased government spending. Almost like we're holding you accountable.
Yeah, almost like the sovereign rights given to me by God. You son of a...
Movement supporters of small government principles and oppose the Affordable Care Act, also known as crap. The Tea Party movement has been described as both popular constitutional movement and as an astroturf movement. No. Supporting the spontaneous and grassroots but created by hidden elite interests. That's so stupid.
Nice freaking try, you son of a... Nothing makes me want to curse more than you. AstroTurf for the sake of elites. That's you! That's why you exist! CNN!
It's so like projection, it's hard. The movement.
Oh, they got different stuff this time, and it's more expensive.
Oh.
Those awful people.
The right-wing populists and...
Oh, you mean working class people?
And conservative activists. Sponsored multiple protests and supported various political candidates. Who cares?
So what about that?
The movement took its name from the
Bugger!
Tea Party.
That's a lot of money! I shouldn't buy anything from this guy. I swear he wasn't charging this much last time. Do I gotta whoop him one? Do I need to whoop you one, pal? Last time he had better priced stuff. Was it because I gave him more of a licking? Melchior's got better stuff for me.
3%ers obviously are nationwide. Let's find out what's going on in New York.
Why New York?
I don't know.
I don't live in New York. Don't want to live in New York. New York sucks.
I'm just saying New York's also sometimes got the people that go enough is enough. I mean, I find that...
No, it doesn't. Not anymore, it doesn't.
Well, maybe. I don't know.
Not since the 50s, it doesn't. Not since they got rid of the mob.
Oh, Hence why we're back to the mob discussion.
Well, I'd take them over the government any day.
Montana, they probably have a pretty good...
Yeah, Montana's pretty alright. It's basically mountain Texas.
Missouri, I'll take a pass on that one.
What do you want? Well, but you got a problem with Missouri?
I don't know. Misery. I don't know. I just... Christian nationalists. What?
She's already got that. That's pretty good. I'll buy this. You don't have any revives, though, pal. That's what I need. You don't have any ethers, either. You're leaving me high and dry, pal. Alright. Still haven't officially regained all the progress we made.
Even I don't know. It's really quite annoying, all these.
Well, quit browsing the internet. Get yourself off of the media. That man pimp slapped me. I felt it.
Well, at this point, it is a bit of the Thomas Shelby thing. I'm not a traitor to my class. I'm just an extreme example of what a working class man can achieve. Like I'm sorry. I'm gonna work my way up, and if you don't like it, why don't you F off there, white man? I mean, it's like I don't quite understand why it's any of your business.
Didn't used to be. I think George Washington would have shot a guy for proposing income tax. I certainly would have. If I was president, some guy was like, hey, what if we just took people's paychecks? I'd be like, you're dying today. The fact that you would dare propose that to me means you're a Russian spy or something of the equivalent. It's just garbage. I don't even think we had reasons to hate Russia back then, so I don't even know what I'd have accused him of being. A wuss.
That would have been enough.
Yeah, it's just garbage. I don't even want to be in government, but there's a part of me that's like I want to become a politician just to dismantle the government from the inside. It's like, oh, people talk about, you just want to do it for power. No, I'm actually trying to get rid of the power. I'm trying to give it back to you. Whatever. What's wrong with women? Since we've given up all hope.
I can't even begin to describe.
We've given up all hope on this this one not going bad places. Women are actually quite nice. I'd like to point that out. They're definitely they have their charms.
Well, it's not even that. I mean,
Nope, not even.
No, what I'm saying is, okay, I'll start with this. I have always ever been what I would
A misogynist.
what I would consider to be a complementarian. I've talked about this before. Now, let me explain if it is a confusing term.
Women don't have rights, but I will compliment them.
It means that while I believe that men can do things that women cannot, shocker. That's such a dare, like, how dare I say that? Yes, there are things men possess capability of that women will never be able to do. But, in the same manner, women can do things that men cannot. And two things must be, this belief system has to be predicated on two things. Number one, you actually believe there's differences between men and women.
Well, they don't believe that anymore, though.
And the number two, that it's okay that we have different roles. Even that.
Don't you know, though, we're all protoplasmic beings with unfixed abode. We all are just the same underneath, and we have nothing that is distinct or unique. All people are just the same.
But here's the issue that I have.
Jean-Jacques Rousseau can eat my fetid...
Fetid fat
feces.
No. I was going to say fat folds, but...
I don't want him anywhere near them.
What I'm getting at is, what bothers me is even within Christian, and I will put a degree of air quote in that, or believing persons, there's a problem with, or at least a resistance to, the suggestion that women and men are different even in their roles. There's this new wave of people that go, we have to be okay with the fact that
they're called liberals.
That some women want to work.
Just cutting it loose today.
And other men want to stay home and take care of the babies. And I'm like, well, if you agree to that with your spouse, I suppose I'm not going to specifically go, hey, I have to tell you how to live your life. But here's the issue.
You are wrong, though.
I promise you, it is not... So I'll take it outside of the emotional and go to the statistical.
Emotional damage.
Emotional statistics. No. Is that Peterson talks about this, even in places where they have actually attempted these kinds of juxtapositions, what they find is that women and men eventually realize that they are not fulfilled in those positions because, albeit from us to say, it's not natural. And I'm sorry to say it, but it bothers me because I go, what it requires. So here's what a complementarian view requires. Respect of both persons' contributions. That's what it requires. But there's such a move away from this because, and to the responsibility of the men as well, we have to take responsibility for the things that we can do different, and then they have to take responsibility for the things they can do different. When we start saying, well, all the women do is have to take care of the children, and that's not all that difficult. Well,
who's ever said that, though?
I'm just saying, if you have that position, yes, that does make you somewhat misogynist, and I go, you ought to widen your...
Well, not even that. It just makes you ignorant.
Right. It makes you ignorant.
That implies, misogyny implies some kind of a negative... It's like, no, that's just wrong.
Right. You're correct. But, and at the same time, and in the same token, and this is where most people take issue, so I'm going to step on some toes, and that's okay. Men typically can take that first section that I just stated and go, okay, yeah, fine, I'll receive that as much as I don't like to hear it. There may be some things about my perspective that need to change. But, women, are you ready to hear this?
No, they're not.
You also need to change some things. I do take issue with the position that says, yeah, but, we're doing all these things and men don't even understand. It's like, well, okay, put the shoe on the other foot for just a second and recognize that that goes both ways. If you want to take issue, this is all provoked, and I'll say it, I guess I'll frame it around.
I've got an extra grind, is what I'm saying.
Yes.
Here's my axe.
This is all provoked around one particular video that my wife had come across recently, and we've had discussions about this since, so know that we're fine.
The couch is quite comfortable, actually.
The couch, no. But at the same time, I still take issue with this principle, which is that this woman on a social media platform had basically made a joke of, well, this is what it's like to be married. And it was a song, so This Is Love by, it's like in the Cinderella movie or whatever. And she was basically going around the house putting on blast all the things that her husband does that she has to basically pick up after. So it was like, there's clothing all over the floor, so this is love, whatever. And it's like, the seat's up when she has to put it down. And it's like,
When did we ever let that become a
And
thing?
then it's like, and then the, you know, something, I don't know. I mean,
If that's your problem in life,
Listen, it's
you're a real lucky
real
person.
dumb. It was like, okay, the dishes, the sink is full of like dirty dishes. It's like, well, okay, yeah. We use them because we eat. So do you. I mean,
Because we eat.
and so
You look
it's
through
like this whole thing, and she's going around like doing all this stuff, and basically it's like insinuating that men just walk around completely inconsiderate of all things that women do, and that actually is a representation of love. Well, first of all, not to pee in your Cheerios, but that's what your kids are watching you see, like watching your perspective on, and they're going to see that that's your interpretation of what men are. And not only that, but you're basically just crapping all over what actual genuine not only affection but also care for another individual should be. So how about we actually represent what that ought to be and recognize that, sure, there is a great amount of labor and responsibility that you have in the home. Not going to deny that. I think it's great. And the men that don't actually honor or respect that for you, I'm sorry. So if that's where that's coming from for you, I validate the fact that it needs to be honored. However, don't get the wrong impression that you also, you know, have, again, grass outside that you never think twice about mowing, or trash in the trash
Car,
can
you
that-
probably have never once thought about how it works.
Or, yeah, exactly. Or like, okay, you have trash in your trash can that you repeatedly just pile higher and higher and higher until I finally take it out. It's like, do I ever have a problem with that? No, because it's my role in the relationship, in the same way that doing laundry is your role. And again, I go, you may take issue
How
with
dare
that
you?
because it's a traditional position, but it's not misogyny. It's complementarian. Again, if I help you by coming in and saying, hey, I want to fold the laundry with you tonight just because I want to contribute and be a part of, like, helping you with your day, and you come out and say, hey, I'm going to, you know, plant some roses while you're out here and mowing the lawn, or while you're, you know, doing this, I'm gardening, great. We're working on it together, but don't get the mistaken idea that I just sit around doing nothing while you're doing all the work, because that's not accurate. So I do take massive issue with it, and I've gotten to the point that I used to think it was just a cultural zeitgeist that was like, oh, this is becoming like a massive issue within culture, but at least within Christendom, and to a lesser degree, or to an even lesser degree in my own home, it's not as much prevalent. But the problem is it's so pervasive that it's starting to be received almost, I wouldn't say
Here's
across the
a
board.
save point, so maybe I did save, and maybe this all was a waste.
What?
I didn't realize there was... Yeah, this was. Okay, so this was all a waste forever. Sorry for ruining everyone's day.
But
And again, the world's never said that to me.
but I mean,
All right, blubber not.
so really what I've come down to is, are our burdens different? Yes. But are they both worth bearing for one another? Yes. And the minute you act like the other person doesn't bear any burdens for you, and they're just basically a mooch, or like they're not doing anything, is the point in which respect is no longer there, and it's out the door. And now, how are you expecting to receive any sort of appreciation for what you do when you're basically peeing on whatever they do? It's like, this is not how this is going to go. And again, I say this to both men and women. It's like, let's get to the point that we say, gee, I'm sure glad that you guys, you know, that you participate in all these things that you do, so that I am enabled to do the things I do well. So have conversations about these things and actually communicate, but it is bothersome to me that, again,
Oof,
it used to
ouch.
be something where I could just chalk it up to, oh, that's a shame. It's a shame that that's such a cultural phenomenon, but it's not really, it's not really prevalent in my house or in my circles. Now it is, so I must speak to it.
I'll speak away.
So I don't know where you land on that, but I've gotten to a place where I'm like,
I was trying to heal her.
what is he doing there? Is he sleeping because he's just that?
Who's him? The guy, the massive fat guy?
Yeah, whatever. He's Whatever his dragon face breath is.
Why was Kay? I literally was doing nothing but having the slut heal everybody. And it's still, I couldn't heal fast enough.
Okay,
Well,
so...
I want to make sure that I definitely don't want to press... This is so stupid. Because I was right outside that room. This past 50 minutes was me just recovering that save data. I forgot. I was going to drink a bunch of stuff before I came in here. I was thinking of booze. No, I was going to drink a bunch... going to drink a bunch of the health and magic potions before I started this fight to give me a bit better of a edge. But so I'm literally going to use her to do nothing but just heal everyone forever. You two can get the attacks going, and the slut's just going to heal. Come on. Because some of these attacks like that doesn't hurt much. And then sometimes he just busts out a walloping. Come on, come on. Heal yourself this time. Heal yourself, because you are in need. Flame his face.
Well, sounds like I'm apparently the only one on the expounding plane.
Well, no, I mean, I got...
Me here with myself in my hand.
Well, I don't have much... I mean, I don't disagree. I just don't have the direct experience.
Well, maybe not, but I
certainly see the stuff going around me, and I'm like, this makes being introvert of good investments. I'm alright not being around this. Heal yourself forever!
I just...
I
resist. There's a movement that people call it like the trad thing, and
that seems in many ways like a purely aesthetic thing that doesn't grasp because you'll see plenty of those. It's like, oh, I'm a traditional girlfriend and I live with my boyfriend, and I'm like, your grandma would not have thought this was traditional at all.
Right.
Your grandma would have taken great exception to this. So don't go acting like this is a normal thing. This is just you sort of attributing some moderately old school notions into your still pretty liberal life. I was gonna kill the healing lady! Oh, she's not dead. How much can this fella take?
Well, so I'll take it even further to the theological side.
No!
This'll make it a little less spicy and a little more
heal
precise.
her, heal her, help me.
Just a tad.
Sorry, dying now.
This is where...
No!
Oh dear.
Right as I'm trying to heal everybody, we just end up dying.
Let's see.
Strike his face! Let's let this be the last one. That would be awesome. Nope. Dying today. Drowning in air. Yep. Bye.
Yep, bye.
This dude sucks a load of wet diapers.
So I'm going to sharpen the point slightly and make it a little less spicy and a little more precise.
How was I going to make it less spicy?
No.
I'd like to make my point even more fervently.
Here's where men have done themselves a disservice. Historically, even theologically within the church. This is, I think, a poor
Everybody's getting healed up.
perspective. There was a season in which people argued that men were more, I wouldn't call it more of value, but essentially it was like, we are on a higher level than women according to Scripture when it comes to how God sees us. That I vehemently disagree with, because I think that it's clear in the beginning of Genesis that men and women, he created them, and that they were supposed to be, again, working in tandem alongside of one another. You also see that throughout Scripture, God deals with both men and women and speaks to both men and women. So it's not a respecter of persons. In fact, that's a Scripture. But there's been a fair bit of theology that basically says, when it talks about that Scripture of man is the glory of God, but woman is the glory of man, that it's actually meaning that men represents God, whereas women represents man. I'm like, no, I just disagree with that context. So there's more scriptures that I could go on about with it, but again, the thing for me is both men and women represent different parts of God, the Godhead, and that together in that unity, that creation of life, both physically and spiritually, is birthed. I think that it's the union of both men and women that creates
How did that only do 88?
the representation of the image of God that he intended. And so I think that it was a disservice for a long while where men acted like women were subservient to men because we were superior. Role-wise, God has made it very clear that men are supposed to be in charge of the family unit, we're supposed to be the leaders in that regard, but he never states that it's some sort of you are a superior being or you have some sort of higher understanding by comparison to women. So if you take issue with that, maybe you should look at that with scripture and the Spirit talking to you, but the bottom line is that's where I take issue with that. But the complementarian view would again say that God has designed each men and women to be different and can complement and fill out each other's shortcomings together. And it's in that union that God's perfection is essentially expressed. So that I think does take it a little less spicy and makes it more of to the credit of, I think, some of the frustrations.
Didn't intend to heal her.
That
she was already full health.
Even within the Christian church have almost negated the significant role of life giver that women play, So I think it's a shame that we have not given that its due credit.
I'm dying a whole bunch.
God specifically says, give honor where honor is due, and I don't know that we've done that well. But I don't know. For what it's worth, there's that. But I also think Proverbs 31 woman, there's so many men that are uncomfortable.
Where's she at?
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. The Proverbs 31 woman, there's so many men that are uncomfortable with men or with women being strong, and they feel like they can't lead if a woman is strong because men are supposed to lead and women are just supposed to be quiet. Well, no. I think personally, if you can't lead with a woman still actually alongside of you, still giving her your opinion, still giving her opinions to you, still being able to voice and express concerns or, be a part of discussion with you, but then you still make the decisions. If you're not strong enough and you don't have the stones for that, perhaps that's the issue and not that she's speaking in the first place.
Oh, no.
The other thing is, if you as a man are not creating a space in which your wife feels like she desires to let you lead, that's also on you, because that's something that you cultivate.
I think that can very easily split both ways.
It can be 100%, and I'm not saying that there's not responsibility on the woman. What I'm saying is,
this dude sucks.
If you let me clarify, or maybe. I'll clarify what I'm saying. If you lead on a totalitarian level in your home as the man, that's problematic because you see in Scripture that we're supposed to lead like Christ leads, and if you look at the way he led the church, it was by example and servanthood, not by an iron fist. He was not a general or a dictator. He was a servant. And in my opinion, men lead the same way. We lead by example, we show, and we demonstrate, and we walk out ahead of. And that's when it's far easier for us to then say, and I've said this to people, when I have to pull that trump card of, love, I really need you to follow me, and my gut or my, spiritual urges in this particular regard, that she's far more inclined to say, yes, I will trust that because I trust you in this, than if you're leading in some sort of you're a woman, so sit down and shut up. It's like, no.
Yeah, but see, I can't help but feel that there's a straw man even in using that as the... It's like, okay, but where's that really?
Where's what?
That, what you're just describing as though it's like,
it's an extreme example, sure. I mean, I don't know that I see that quite as much In a modern context, maybe.
I don't even know that it was as prevalent as people want you to think it was. Because the only people I ever hear talking about it are people I wouldn't necessarily trust statistically.
And that's a valid...
I'm dying again.
I guess all I'm saying is that when you look at the reason why men lead, why you lead matters. You lead because of the fact that it's your God-given position of responsibility, not your God-given position
This
of
water
power.
attack is just devastating.
It's a responsibility that God's given us, but it's not some sort of a privilege because we have the superior understanding and skill set. That's not the issue. Now, we are the stronger of the two partners, God makes that clear, but that's because God has made us protectors and builders, and He's made women cultivators and, life givers. Now, back to the Proverbs 31 woman. You look at that woman, she was in the trenches. Actually, I appreciate the fact that there's a degree of industriousness even about the Proverbs.
Yeah, that's not trenches, though.
Well, but I mean, okay, look at JL. Cramming a tent peg through a tyrant's head is fairly in the trenches. I mean, that's...
Okay, but that's not the Proverbs woman. I'd like to
No, but I'm
jump
saying,
in a bit there.
Sure, but I'm saying...
And also, I think people misinterpret the book, not the book of Judges specifically, but the story of Deborah, because the whole point of Deborah is a man wouldn't do what he was supposed to do.
Right, but...
So women had to do it. It's like, that was not like, oh, look at women, they're powerful. It's, no, look at this wuss.
Well, that's true.
This guy, she literally says, you've lost your chance for glory and honor, and this will all be taken from you.
I agree.
Because you're a wuss.
Yeah, but
You've got me animated, and I'm forgetting to monitor my health, and I need healing, and I'm gonna drown.
I do think that again, there's a degree of industriousness and...
Well, yeah, but I don't disagree with that, but I think trenches is a little strong, because it's talking about, she's wise and knows how to invest money properly, and
Right.
it's like,
So,
well, these are valid things, but it's not like, okay, she's working in a field all day.
No, that's not what I mean by she's in the trenches.
We're all dying, son.
To get out and actually...
Oh, golly gee. I'm just going to take the chance, because there's no way I'm going to
for
revive both of them.
husbands, to trust in her, and
Nope, that wasn't it. It was it!
she does him good.
Holy crap!
Harm all of her days. Works with diligence with her hands. So that's all I'm saying. What I was getting at was that she's...
I was at 8 health points, and I took the risk of attacking him, and I didn't think it was going to matter, because I thought there's no chance I'm going to revive both of them before he attacks me again, so I'm just going to take the shot. Okay. You're going to actually die there, pal. I don't care about your monologue. Woo! We is all dead. Our limbs are hanging off.
So that's what I was getting at. She works with diligence with her hands. So she's like the ship of merchants from afar off. She brings her food, and she arises while it is still night and gives her food to her household and the tasks to her servants' girls. So the bottom line is she's constantly working and getting after it. Now, it's different than the man. Obviously, it looks different.
What?
But I'm just saying to suggest that a woman ought to be like sitting back and just being pampered. That's not a Proverbs 31 woman.
Well, sure. I didn't realize we were in a different spot that whole time. It's been so long since I've seen this main map that I hadn't realized this was a different area. Alright, we're back home.
An actual home?
Well, we're in a hose home. But, we're familiar with this.